Okay,
Well,
seriously.
अगर आपको ऐसा लग रहा है कि markets were crazy before, then this weekend was still crazy. US
Yes.
Supreme Court dropped a nuclear bomb and declared Donald Trump's tariffs as illegal. And what did Trump do? Well, he did what he always does. He announced more tariffs. First 10%, then he increased it to 15%. And what did the markets do? Well, they pumped a little bit on Friday and then dumped horribly over the weekend. As we speak, dollar slipping, BTC is below 65K, and gold is back to 5200.
Yes.
Today, we'll be looking into the tariffs ruling, the markets, and a lot more. I have Narkundi and Realist with me. This is the Bops of Crypto podcast. Welcome back, and let's go. Yes, the tariffs have
Yo.
been struck down as illegal.
Nobody's surprised. Nobody's surprised. Like Trump
Well,
ने कुछ
I
बोल
was
दिया.
they no
मैं
they the thing was कि they deliberated on this for like a month, I think. कि
हम्म
एक महीने तक उन्होंने इस पे डेलिब्रेट किया है और फिर उसके बाद ये रूलिंग दी है. So I and there were like dissensions. Obviously, when we discuss about this, we'll get into this कि कौन कौन किसने क्या क्या किया. But yeah, but as soon as this ruling came, Trump has been fuming, right? And एक के बाद एक ट्रूथ सोशल पे पोस्ट आ रही है उसकी. ओवर द वीकेंड तो काफी आए, सबने देखा ही होगा. अब फिर आज उसने फिर दो तीन चीजें डाली एंड ही इज बीन लाइक he's actually losing his mind, I think.
I don't think so, dude. He just gives media a bone and be like, go, run with it. यही चल रहा है. फर्स्ट टर्म में भी यही था, अभी भी वही है. Nothing's changed. बीच में aliens आ गए थे बीच में. Obama
Aliens
suddenly
तो
talking
यार
about aliens. कुछ भी हो रहा है.
dude,
So
aliens का
White
तो
House
ऐसे
is showing
भी
tweets about aliens. Like क्या है ये?
yeah.
क्या comedy है? कितना distract करेंगे?
Aliens, so that was, I think, the aliens were like Epstein को वो करने के लिए. And ये अब जो है, this is like an existential crisis for Trump because midterm elections हैं इस साल and he's promised like a lot of things कि I'm so good at making deals, I'm so good at doing this, doing that. So वो जो है क्या बोलते हैं कि लोग उसको डाइजेस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे और ऑब्वियसली एप्स्टीन फाइल्स की वजह से इतना बवाल है ही सही. तो मिड टर्म्स में now more and more it's looking like they will lose at least one of the races, like या तो either House of Representatives या Senate, दोनों में से एक तो जाएगा कुछ. All right, let's
Maybe.
see कि yes, ये देख रहे हो तुम. So आज जैसे ही मार्केट खुली, obviously Dow Jones was down, S&P 500 down, Nasdaq down, and small cap 2000 down. फिर yes, today he posted this that the
Oof,
Supreme
what is this?
yeah, he one of his like famous rants, right? कि इसको उसको इतना उसका धक्का लगा है कि वो rant पे rant. So the Supreme Court of the United States accidentally and unwittingly gave me, as the President of the United States, far more powers and strength than I had prior to their ridiculous, dumb, and very internationally divisive ruling. For one thing, I can use licenses to do absolutely terrible to foreign countries, especially those countries that have been ripping us off for many decades, but incomprehensibly. According to the ruling, can't charge them a license fee, but all licenses charge fees. Why can't the United States do so? Yani, I mean, this is like one of those rants, man. Like, I think when you guys have time, just go through it. Fair, he
Nice.
also he also posted this like any country that wants to play games with the ridiculous Supreme Court decision, especially those that have ripped off the USA for years, even decades, will be met with a much higher tariff and worse than that which they recently agreed to. Buyers beware. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. तो obviously एक इस पे वो चल रहा है कि जो कंट्रीज है जिनको उन्होंने टैरिफ्स की धमकी दे के जिनके साथ डील करी है, राइट? व्हाट विल दोस कंट्रीज डू? So one of those
EU ने तो
countries,
बोला ना say like
yeah,
deal is a deal.
yeah, EU says it will accept no increase in tariffs after Supreme Court ruling.
Of course.
Yeah.
Very
So
strange situation to be in, right? Like now countries are saying that no, we're not going to pay, what is the US going to do? Because he's still the supreme commander in the US
Yeah.
military forces, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens now.
uh, most more than likely a war in Iran to calm his nerves कि मैंने कुछ किया देखा. Like, I mean, I don't know, just to tell the public कि मैंने कुछ किया, because this is looking more and more likely कि बस he's gonna lash out some way, right?
Yeah,
the
100%.
the question, the thing was कि which countries, so लोग ये बार बार पूछ रहे हैं कि जो पैसा लिया वो देंगे कि नहीं देंगे. So the thing is कि the countries are not owed any money. It's the US importers that have paid tariffs, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
The US importers that have paid tariffs.
Mhm.
So money, if any money that is going to go back, is going to go to the US importers. But वो भी जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने वो नहीं बोला कि इसमें कुछ, इस रूलिंग में उन्होंने कुछ क्लैरिटी नहीं दी है. What they said कि any refund वाला जो सीन
Hmm.
होगा, that will go to the court of international trade. So वो वहां
Which
से
could take
decide,
years.
yeah, which could take years. So I mean,
I mean,
there,
like countries basically had a problem because because obviously if an importer has to pay an X amount of money, he will
yeah,
obviously charge an X amount of price, etc. I think that's how that dynamic sort of
yeah,
happened, right? So, uh, and so yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the exporter countries have nothing to sort of go for here.
oh,
I mean, then
yeah,
it's not that they're going to get any money back or they're going to get any adjustments, etc. They'll continue to do, and maybe their price dynamics is probably going to change.
yeah.
But you're
So I
right.
mean,
I mean, it's the importers which have to basically get those refunds.
and not only that, like US importers might have paid tariffs, but they, in the end of the day, it was charged to the customers, right? And obviously,
Of
Absolutely. It's the
course.
customer that paid for all of this, and which is why it's such a moronic thing to do. I mean,
yeah,
it's not that just because there is a tariff imposed, people in India will start selling for cheaper,
yeah,
right? They'll still. I mean, these kind of things are sort of determined by raw material prices, etc. And raw material prices don't get affected by all of this, right? Raw material prices
yeah,
are on its own trajectory. So all of these costs are getting passed on, and it's eventually the customer that has to pay, which is why this entire thing is so flawed. And they're effectively saying that we're going to give customers a tax break, but they're eventually, the way I see it, what Trump is doing is what credit card companies do, right? They charge you fees on Forex and then they give you the same money back as cashback, and you think that you're actually ripping the credit card companies off. But
yeah.
it's you who's getting ripped off because you're being overcharged in the first place through something or the other. So here in this case, I think that's what the administration has sort of done.
All right. So yeah, realist, let's start. Ki ek to ye, I'm sure you went into the details about the ruling and what
Yeah.
exactly happened. उसके बारे में थोड़ा, there's like something called IEEPA and stuff like that. So what is that? And
So there are a couple of aspects. I mean, if you already know what the
mm,
ruling is and how the
mm,
Supreme Court has sort of done has done what it did, but the most astonishing fact was that certain Trump appointees have sort of gone with the law, and I think that's a very healthy sign of democracy. And
mm,
I think this is something that people should actually rejoice that just because you're being appointed by somebody does not mean you're going to dance to that person's tune. You're going to side with what the rule is. So, I think what the ruling also alludes to is the fact that the IEEPA Act, which you sort of referred to right now, I mean, in this case, it's anyway, the act itself, the A is redundant. But anyway, this can be used to sort of seize foreign assets of people who sort of pose a threat, right, to maybe world global order or the US in general, which is why the Iran and the Russia assets being seized, because both of them were sort of engaged in you are deeming that to be hostile towards your country. So I think
mm,
this is completely fine. So Russian assets getting seized in the US and Iran assets getting seized in the US is completely fine. But using that to say that other countries are simply ripping us off where those countries don't pose any threat to you, I think that is an overreach of this act, which is something that the courts have sort of pointed out. And I think let me just read out what the full form of this act is. It's the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, right? So as the name sort of suggests that if there is some sort of international emergency, then certain economic measures can be sort of undertaken by the administration in order to reprimand the people who sort of pose a threat to you, right? Now to say that these countries have been ripping us off, hence they pose a threat to us, which is why I'm sort of sanctioning them by imposing tariffs on them, like I said, is an overreach of this particular act, and it no way holds true when it comes to the rule of law. And that is something that the courts, like I mentioned, have pointed out. Now, like you mentioned, that even though the courts have sort of resolved this mess, there are two things that Trump can obviously. I mean, he can definitely pass a new legislation, right? I mean, because by the end of the day, the court's duty is to uphold laws which are being passed by uh, legislative, right? Uh, and the executive definitely has the power to go via legislative, create new laws to sort of have this in place. Now it all depends on how the broader both the houses sort of react to stuff like this if a bill like this were to be passed, which I kind of think that the fact that two Trump appointed judges or sort of Trump suitors have, or sort of Trump siders have sort of um, sided with the Chief Justice, I think gives a lot of confidence to other people as well in both houses. So if a bill like this were to sort of come about, and if there is some way in which the vote can be swung in a way in which the act can probably be struck down or the legislation can be struck down, these people will definitely get that confidence to sort of dissent, right? Because there is this prevalent sentiment that dissent is possible, and if dissent can lead to great outcomes like the one that the Supreme Court has sort of done, I think this will sort of encourage people to do that. But again, coming back to what the Supreme Court ruling says, that it's not that they've said that the tariffs need to be refunded, and I'm glad that we talked about it's not going back to the exporting countries. It's essentially going to go back to the importers who've already paid it. Now, in this particular case, they've, I think, sent it to some US Court of International Trade or something like that. I think that's the name. Now, over there, the entire proceedings will have to be carried out. The arbitration will happen, etc. Whatnot. And these things we all know. I think the justice system in any country is a wheel that moves very, very slowly, right? So I don't think these importers are getting relief anytime soon. And of course, the executive will also fight this out in court, right? Because the executive is also going to be the other party in this case. So I would say that this is far, far from over. But the issue here is amidst this entire mess, right? So the three issues. Number one, that obviously dissent has happened, and I mean, this was struck down, and the overreach of the IEEPA, and number three, importers sort of fighting it out in the lower courts. Eventually, out of all of this, because now what's going to happen is all the exporting countries, they're not going to die Trump when these deals are happening on a daily basis, because Supreme Court has ruled this. These exporters will sort of tell their importers, you know what the hell? I mean, because I'm pretty sure there must be some price negotiations happening there, and the importers must also be saying, यार मैं इतना तुम्हें नहीं दे सकता, मैं थोड़ा कम पैसे दूंगा तुम्हें, या whatnot, whatever, is because I need to pay tariffs. So please adjust. Now the exporter on the other hand is going to say that, dude, I don't know. I'm not going to sell it to you at this rate because I want to keep my business rolling because your Supreme Court has struck this down. So what's going to happen is the entire onus and the pressure is going to fall on the importer by the end of the day. And if the importer is not able to, because like I said, a lot of exporting countries might say that, you know what, because they want to satisfy their local economic bodies, right, and their local international trade bodies, and any business that sort of sells abroad, in order to satisfy them, they will essentially tell these guys that, okay, you don't need to pay tariffs, you can quote a higher sum, because they obviously want to earn more money effectively. So they will essentially go and tell them that, ठीक है, तुम्हें जो charge करना है तुम करो. But then they will say that, यार, importer मान नहीं रहा है, right? Eventually, everyone is still in a fix, but the person who's actually going to face the brunt of it all is the importer. Because पहले importer at least ये बोल पाता था, यार, please तुम मेरे को 100 रुपए का माल 90 रुपए में दे दो, because मेरे को टैरिफ भरना पड़ेगा उस पे, ठीक है, तो थोड़ा कंसेशन मेरे को दे दो ताकि हम वॉल्यूम्स मेंटेन कर पाए, राइट? बट अब क्या है कि वो बंदा बोलेगा 90 में नहीं तो 100 में, तेरे को तो टैरिफ दे रहा नहीं है उसको, तो क्यों मैं why should I sell it to you for $90? So eventually it could be that the importer pays it from his own pocket, right? And if he pays it from his own pocket, indirectly or directly, he's going to pass it on to the consumer.
Yeah.
And the consumer is going to pay for it. So tariff or no tariff, the consumer is still going to pay, because even in this mess, while everything hangs in limbo as of today, because you have the president of the United States I mean, he's doing what he's doing, right? He's tweeting on Truth Social and saying whatnot.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court is doing something. Exporting countries don't know what to do. Exporters will say, we don't want to pay tariffs, we don't want to give you concessions on prices anymore. The importer gets screwed, and if the importer gets screwed, he's going to pass it on to the consumer. Because earlier he wasn't getting screwed; he was simply passing it on to the consumer. But now he's going to get screwed.
Yeah.
So yeah, then so now two parties are going to be aggrieved here: the customer and the importer. So very very tricky situation.
So, so I don't know if this is like accurate or not, but I saw a post saying that customs जो actually ये tariffs collect करते हैं, they will have to stop collecting because it's a Supreme Court ruling. So
Exactly, and
executive or not, they will have to stop collecting.
100, and you're 100% right, because what's going to happen is, actually you're absolutely right. What's going to happen is, if these people, if say the customs guy collects the tariff, the importer can actually go and file a case against him, because that
Yeah.
guy will be doing something illegal.
Yeah.
Now he can't come and say that the executive has assigned me to do this, because I don't think any White House will give it to him in writing that you can do this,
Yeah.
right? Because now it's illegal technically to collect. You're absolutely right, to collect tariffs. So I don't know, very very tricky situation. Let's see what happens.
Narkundi, what do the numbers tell us? Ki, what kind of impact is it gonna have? कितने देने पड़ेंगे, कितना टैरिफ आया है, कितना जाने वाला है?
So tariff का जब announcements हुआ था, it was said that trillions are going to come in from tariff, but independent estimates have put it at a 170 billion, 170, 180 billion at
Okay, so
best.
let me just clarify on that. So with this ruling, right, जो IEEPA वाला जो ruling है,
Mm-hmm.
so this only applies to 2/3 of the tariffs collected. So ये वाला powers जो use करके उसने जो tariffs collect
Mm-hmm.
किए हैं, तो उन्होंने ये specific statute से जो tariffs collect हुए हैं, इसको illegal किया है. So this affects like the 2/3 of the tariffs collected, basically.
Okay. I did not know that. Fine. So that's also interesting to know. Now, consumer front pay, I mean, we've discussed that, consumers are going to end up paying for this. And that has already been the case. So, 2025, there was a projected $1,000 cost per household increase. If this continues and this another 15% gets added, that will increase to about $1,300. So, it's quite messy, and obviously several regions and countries have already come up with trade deals, so they thought that this is past. Whatever fiasco was done in 2025, 2026 will be slightly different. Secretary of State is in EU, he's giving speeches in Germany about relationship with them, and then it's all like a backtrack. Now iska markets pe, it's been extremely chaotic.
Yeah.
Friday को जब ये न्यूज़ आई रूलिंग की, there was a pump, but it was like a fake out pump. 66 and a half से 68 point something तक गया, and then it started dipping. Saturday को न्यूज़ आई ट्रम्प की कि we're going to put 10%, फिर आई कि we're going to put 15%, and now markets are down to 64 and a half. What's interesting in this is that the net ETF inflows have been extremely negative last 2-3 days. Thursday was negative, Friday was negative, and Monday is also looking negative. But at the same time, whales who own more than 1,000 BTC, they have snapped up 15,000 BTCs in this same 4-5 day period. Now, maybe it's because they're permabulls on BTC, that's why they bought it. Or you look at it as smart money is trying to position and see that, okay, this is a good opportunity to buy, but Nasdaq is down, S&P is down, BTC is down. So either you can look at it as a discount to buy BTC, or you can say that this bloodbath is going to continue further. I don't know.
So what the way, so what the thing is ki there are smart money basically is what Wall Street money, right? They I'm Isn't it like an uncertain time for them to be doing anything, because अब उनको एक ये नई uncertainty आ गई है markets में. कि क्या होगा टैरिफ्स का, राइट? ऑब्वियसली ट्रम्प इज ऑन सम काइंड ऑफ अ वॉर पैथ नाउ अगेंस्ट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट. फेड का नया आ गया, पर अभी पावल का थोड़ा टाइम बाकी है, राइट? क्या होने वाला है, एंड ये भी श्योर नहीं है कि केविन वॉर्ड्स जो है हाउ यानी उसकी पॉलिसीज विल बी कंड्यूसिव विद व्हाइट हाउस की पॉलिसीज, कि उस पे भी थोड़ा डाउट है अभी. सो
Mm.
it is like a time of like massive uncertainty, right? So how is why is smart money buying right now, or is
See, I
smart
don't
money
think.
buying wrong, or is it just the whales, BTC whales? They've come, they sold, they made a profit. Now they see markets are like very low. ये I mean
Mhm.
उनको देख के वापस लग ही रहा होगा कि यार ये तो सही प्राइस है.
I think
They'll
it's
be
I
coming back
think
in.
I think it's the latter. They just see value. I don't think for
Right.
them and generally for smart money, right?
Yeah.
I don't think sentiments matter
Right.
because, like we've seen, asset prices move and narrative sort of follows, right?
Yeah.
You'll find a narrative as to why the asset price has moved after it's moved,
Yeah.
right? Like today, we have justifications for why gold has moved up like this. But when it was breaking out or forming that one large, because what happens is when you range bound for a very, very long period of time, you in that range, there are multiple tops when you hit the upper end of the channel.
Yeah.
And there are multiple bottoms that you hit at the bottom end of the channel, right? So that last final bottom which it formed before this entire up move, because it must have been like a consolidation and then it must have gone up like
Yeah.
this. इसके बीच में काफी ऐसे ऐसे हुआ होगा. The final bottom that it made and then it sort of broke out. And during that time, there was no narrative, right? Because it would just do it because everyone was expecting it to sort of fall back in, right? And sort of be range
Yeah.
bound and do what gold does because it's sort of supposed to give maybe like a 2 to 3% CAGR return over a long period of
Yeah.
time, right? But when it did and when it broke out, when it sort of broke out of that $4,000 range, right? I'm not even talking about 5,000. Talking when it broke out from its $4,000 range. That's when it became talk of town that people are lining up here. You used to find these videos saying that everyone
Mhm.
wants to become a gold bug. You had these sentiments around, you know what, who beat me and my portfolio, my mother and my grandmother did. And these sort of
Yeah.
things started coming out. So this happened from 4,000 to 5,000. This entire narrative came about. And now you see that because this narrative came about, we are seeing sharp volatility in gold right now because now is when retail is bouncing again, right? So I think that's what's going to happen even in the case of BTC, or Narkoni rightfully pointed out, is that they are not looking at sentiment, they are not looking at who's in power, they are looking at value. They are saying this is one of those, this is a very under owned asset right now. बाजार बहुत हल्की है in the
Yeah.
words of great राकेश झुनझुनवाला, right? बाजार बहुत हल्की है, इसमें कोई, हाँ इसमें कोई ओनरशिप ही नहीं है आज के दिन में, right? And जो भी ओनर्स हैं वो बचे नहीं. So which
Yeah.
is why smart money is sort of positioning itself accordingly. Nobody knows in this range. I can speak from maybe an ETH perspective because that's been more range bound ever since 2021. Nobody knows when that final bottom is going to get formed, right? And because वो भी जब bottom form होगा, लोगों को लगेगा ये तो range के अंदर ही रहने वाला है. No one's going to buy that breakout. Nobody is going to buy when it breaks out from that breakout also. And then it starts coming back. So like I said, this narrative is going to follow price action. We will be discussing maybe in 2027 or 2028 why the whales bought today. Like this
Got it.
data point that Narkoti is saying, they lapped up 400 BTC. We will get an explanation, but the explanation will come to us after 2 years. Then there will be narrative. Oh, this is why they bought, and this was their point of view, and stuff like that. Like today, we are discussing central banks bought, which is why it rose, right? So the narratives have come about now, right? Dollar destabilizing, all of that, like narratives have come about now. So 2 years later, 1 year later, we will be discussing this on this show, and we'll probably just say that this is why they bought 450 BTC. I guess that's my point of view.
एक और
Got it.
चीज़ है, like last week जब डिस्कस कर रहे थे about BTC mining. So one of the points was that the profits that they're making by switching to AI versus being
Yeah,
pure BTC, right now they are making 8 times higher. And one of the possibilities was that they plow their profits back into BTC.
good point. Yeah, absolutely.
So that could be happening. And your point, key, all this trade fiasco and immigration and whatever is happening, this is going to happen for the next 3 years. So are you not going to make any investment move for next 3 years? Like,
Correct. You're absolutely
AOC
right.
was literally in Europe and saying, and they're telling Europeans that, Trump is just here for 3 more years and, things will be
Yeah.
fine after that. That's their positioning that, okay, just hang in there for 3 years. So even
You're
from traders'
absolutely right.
perspective, you're going to make bets today. You're not going to wait, like maybe in the next election, somebody even more populist comes in. What are you going to do? And it could
Yeah.
very well
Correct.
happen.
Yeah, and that
You're
was
absolutely
this
right.
was ek to one of the points that one of the dissenting judges used as a sort of excuse to nahi bolunga matlab ki one of the reasonings that he used ki today we give these powers to Donald Trump, right? To what is like stopping another president coming in
Hmm.
and saying
It will
ki
set precedents.
it will set
It will set a
precedents, right?
precedent in court. Exactly.
Yes.
And they will say, because you
Yeah.
allowed it then,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
stop us right now. You're absolutely right. I think that's
Yeah.
the bearing on any Supreme Court judge. Yeah. They
Yeah.
have to decide that even when I'm dead, can somebody use this against the
Yeah.
citizens? I think, yeah. Like I mentioned, democracy survives, or bureaucracy, or any nation survives because those maybe like 5 to 10% people in bureaucracy have that sense in them that nahi yaar, there is a country, this country is going to outlive me. The citizens will outlive, as in there will be citizens in the future as well, and I have to think about them. 90% of them are just like I don't know. I think who's that senator who's beaten all S&P returns or something like that. I mean, most of them are sort of thinking about
Yeah.
themselves, but there are certain
Nancy
few who
Pelosi,
Pelosi.
probably. Sorry, who?
200 million. Nancy
Nancy
Pelosi, no?
Pelosi.
200
Nancy
million
Pelosi,
returns.
right? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the rest will probably just think of themselves, but this handful will probably think about, yeah, like there is precedent which it can. And one more thing that I would like to add, what I'd like to add to Narkuti's statement is that, again, alluding to Mr. Rakesh Junjunwala's statement, बहुत बढ़िया बात है, एकदम देसी, वो तो हिंदी में बात करता था जब भी इंटरव्यू लेता था वो, और उसको वो कुछ एक एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग जब उसको लर्निंग इम्पार्ट करनी होती थी, he used to sort of switch to Hindi immediately. So he would say that बुरे खबरों के साथ ही अच्छे रेट मिलते हैं आपको. So
Yeah.
Fair.
if the news and sentiment is grim, rest assured that you are getting a good price of whatever asset you're buying. He would never say that तुमने उसके बाद खरीद लिया फिर 10 गुना पैसे बनाओगे, 100 गुना पैसे बनाओगे,
Yeah.
एक हफ्ते में पैसे he would simply say कि अगर he would talk about price and he would say that if the news is bad, be rest assured that the price is good. Because tomorrow, when the news will be good and you will be in a comfortable situation to buy, trust me, the price is going to be bad at that point of time.
Yeah.
So, irrespective of what's happening right now, the sentiment is so bad, right? Today, I think we've seen crypto fear and greed over the past 2 weeks is below FTX when
Yes.
scams were happening in this industry, right?
Yeah.
Thankfully, this cycle, we've not seen a single one, right? Apart from the pump.fun fiasco. इस सिचुएशन में अगर आपको ये रेट मिल रहा है राइट तो आई एम प्रीटी श्योर वो एक अच्छा रेट मिल रहा है बिकॉज देयर आर नो स्ट्रक्चरल फ्लॉज यू आर प्रॉब्ली गेटिंग अ गुड रेट दैट्स
बट
Uh,
सबका एंकर वही है कि वो 58K वाला, and its weekly data is starting to inch close towards that 58K. So I
it could be like I don't
could
think
be
a whale which is who has bought 450 BTC worries about another
true.
10%
That
fall
also.
from here.
dude,
Like I don't think I
58
don't think he cares about that.
is too
Because
They'd make
when
steep.
that
his
call
risk to
now than
reward,
wait for it. Yeah.
yeah, because look at his risk to reward, right? Because when somebody is buying into an ETH for that matter, right? He is looking at a 6x to a 10x move, right?
Yeah.
So if you're looking, maybe not a 10x move, you're looking at a 7, 8x move, then will you be worried about a 50% drawdown even? Because look at your risk to reward. Even a 50% drawdown versus a 900% gain or a
Mhm.
800% gain. So the risk to reward will still hold, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's what people are looking at, and that's what, and which is why smart money will make money, right? So the retail is the one that is playing in leverage because for them it's like, yeah, I see these three lines in this direction. I think the markets are just about to turn in the next 5 minutes, and he then goes 50x in. So that person is bound to get hurt. One day or the other, traders will also be proven right because when the market
Yeah.
will move, it will take the traders along with them also. But along the way, the traders will get chopped out, and I think smart money is positioning itself. I don't think smart money ever takes leverage trades. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
S&P का एक metric था, like I can't remember how many years later, but in an entire year, if you weren't in the market for, I don't know, maybe 20 days or 30 days, you missed
Yes,
out on the positive return for that entire year
correct.
just
This
by
was
not
Michael
being
Saylor's
there on that.
presentation on BTC also, if you remember.
Oh
This
yeah?
was one
yeah.
of Michael Saylor's.
Okay.
This was one of
Yes.
his slides in a very famous presentation.
Okay.
So he said
So
Yeah.
the numbers might be here
volatility.
and there, but just being aware.
Yeah, exactly. So he said volatility is why you are getting the kind of sort of asymmetric returns that you're getting. Because had this volatility not been here, you wouldn't have gotten that asymmetric return. Because let's face it, like look at gold 10 years before, no volatility. But then you pay a price for that volatility. You only get 3% a year. But here you pay for that volatility. You're getting 50% drawdowns, you're getting 60% drawdowns. But your risk to reward is still asymmetric, is still
Yeah.
asymmetric. Because in gold, if you're paying for a 50% drawdown and your upside is only 3%, right? So then it's asymmetric on the downside. But here, even if you're paying 50% on the drawdown, but you're paying maybe like a 6x or 7x on the upside, it's still asymmetric on the upper hand. So I think that's how smart money is positioning itself. Nobody knows when, but no, I think they are betting on what.
Got it. नरकुंडी तो AI और data centers और miners की बात कर रहा था. So I don't know if you saw this. Bitdeer sold all of its Bitcoin holdings, including 943 BTC from reserves and 189 newly minted coins, cutting its balance to zero.
And
Capital is
when did they sell this?
they sold this. वो जो कल सुबह जो नहीं गिरा था market, that was them. They sold all of it in one go. They had
Wow.
like जितना भी
Imagine,
था.
and BTC fell maybe what, 7%, 6%, 5%.
Yeah, some 5-6%. Yes.
So, so,
कल इनका वो था.
so imagine in the world of investing, if somebody selling, somebody is buying,
Yeah, obviously.
right? It's not getting sold into the abyss.
Yeah.
So there is demand, and this is what I say, that the structural is has not changed. As in the structural thesis of mine has not changed. Is that imagine this happening 7 years before.
Yeah.
Imagine, we've all been there. Imagine this happening 7 or 8 years. Your market would have been obliterated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's painful. It's tough for what everyone's going through. I think social interaction and engagement around the word crypto is at its lowest. BTC
Ab-
to zero is one of the trending searches right now. By the way,
yes.
highest ever trending searches. BTC to zero. I think this is Narkundi's forte, so I think he must have seen this also. But this is the data point which actually came out that BTC to zero is trending right now on Google search.
But your social is like an echo chamber, right? So if
That's also
you
true.
want doom and gloom, you will get doom and gloom in it.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
तो और एम्पलीफाई करके बताया जाएगा या एवरीवन किसी का घर बिक गया किसी ने गहने रखवा दे बीवी के वही सब स्टोरीज आएंगी एंड इफ
मैं
यू आर
जानता
स्मार्ट
हूँ
मनी
किसी ने
यू विल
गहने
प्रॉब्ली
रखवाए अपनी बीवी के.
he who shall not be named.
Yeah.
I know such people. So it's not just like, I mean, yes, you're right कि it's like an echo chamber तुम social में देख रहे हो, but in reality also people have moved on to other jobs. People have sold their
Fair,
wives'
that's
jewels.
okay.
People
That's a
have
bad move.
lost their homes. People have lost their homes.
But
Like
then that's
obviously,
over
a lot of the
leverage.
traders
That's
over
mistakes.
leverage.
That's not the
I'm not saying
market's fault.
I'm not saying, but
Even
I'm
crypto
saying
company hirings today are at an all-time low. No crypto
yeah,
company is hiring either. I
Yeah,
mean, we know
ghost
our
opening
portfolios,
this and
right?
all.
They aren't hiring. So no
So,
crypto company is hiring either right now.
so there is reality in that yes, markets draw down, but it's again like how you see it. Like, do you see it as a fire or do you see it as a fire sale to buy it at a discount? So if your feed is
Exactly.
like about that, then you will see that okay,
this is
what's
If
the
not.
you are
bigger
looking
opportunity?
for pockets, if you are looking for pockets to allocate capital, I don't know from my lens, if I were to look at, say, any equity market, even emerging markets for that matter, right? Let alone the S&P, I wouldn't get confidence to put in $1 billion at these prices,
No,
right? Because if
absolutely
you're
not.
looking, right, will you put it, like, who has the balls to go and buy gold at $5,500?
Yeah, true.
If you want to allocate
Mhm.
if you want to allocate, let even $100 million, who's going to go and buy? Who's going to go and have the confidence to buy at these prices? So you
I'm
will
gonna go and buy
naturally look at
Max
stuff
7
which is
also.
suppressed. Yeah, you will look
Max
at
7 is
value, and
bleeding,
this is
dude.
where value is.
Yeah.
उसमें भी गिर रहा है. Amazon is what,
मुझे
down 4% today?
3-4%
3%.
तो क्या ही है.
No,
यहाँ पे
Amazon is taking
50.
a beating.
Yeah,
3%
ठीक है.
today.
3%. बताओ इनको.
Somebody tell them, man.
Yeah.
3% पे मुझे नोटिफिकेशन भेज रहे हैं ब्रोकीज.
3% पे थोड़ी मेरा क्या बोलते 10x लिक्विडेट होगा. Okay.
Oof.
All right. Next, yes, obviously this we did. Yeah, I don't know if you saw this. Then USD one थोड़ी देर के लिए depeg हो गया था almost, and it fell below point. Where did it go to? It went to 0.9951, and then Eric Trump started deleting all his posts about World Liberty Financial. So people caught that, and then that became a thing.
Dude, I'm telling you, Trump is going to be
Yeah,
remembered. He's achieved one thing. He's not going to be a forgotten president ever,
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
I think even
absolutely
20
not.
years later, yeah, 20 years later, we're going to have memes about him. He's become a meme
He's
for sure.
the thing is कि he's not doing anything that we haven't seen in India. To be honest,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Exactly. Like
this is
it's
like
meme worthy
very new
shit, man.
for, yeah.
Yeah,
This is
for the
like very
world.
new for
Because
Americans in
because
the
he's doing
world.
it at a
Yeah,
global stage, right? हमारे यहाँ पे
yeah,
पंचायत level पे होता है, district level पे होता है.
yeah,
He's doing it at a global stage, dude.
yeah,
Like Like imagine, dude, I was seeing that. During this AI summit, you had Emmanuel Macron in India, right? And
yeah.
Hmm.
he did this podcast with Raj Shamani, right?
Rajshaman,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And Raj Shamani asked him, like, how do you react when the president of the United States
Hmm.
leaks your messages on the
Yeah,
internet? It's not that
yeah.
he's leaked it to another friend. He's leaked it on the internet for the world to see. How do you react to such things? And I think he was very graceful with the way he answered it. But this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with somebody with whom you're going and negotiating. And that person is actually leaking your stuff to the world. So, I mean, who's going to take you seriously? But yeah, I mean, they
Uh,
have to because they're following protocol. But yeah, I think every country now knows that, yeah, dude, it's his last term. 2 साल का पेन है. 2 years of bear market is what the global leaders are thinking. उसके बाद बोली बोला है is what they I think so.
you never know, man. I mean, he's gonna most probably lose the midterms if things continue like that.
I
And
think so too. I think so too.
yeah,
The
unless he
approval
comes
ratings
up
are down.
like
Yeah, exactly.
only.
They're down severely. And like I said, the fact that you have Supreme Court judges who are sort of appointed by him dissenting
Dissenting.
or not
Yeah,
sort of yeah, not sort of side. I wouldn't
Hmm.
dissent is too strong a word, but not sort of siding with his point of view, right? Or not agreeing with his point of view, I think is a big, big signal to other lawmakers and other sort of bureaucrats out there that you know what, something is not right, and I think we can raise our voice and feel अभी क्या है सबकी फटती क्यों है कि what if I raise my voice and I'm the only one standing, then I'll get cut. So the idea here is these kind of things sort of give a message that if I sort of do raise my voice, I'll have people standing with me as well. I won't be the only person.
yeah.
I
उसने
think
किया
even
ही ना
Kevin Walsh पे भी आ सकता है ना कि like he
Kevin.
Absolutely,
might not end
100%.
up
You're
being a
absolutely
yes
right.
man, you know.
Yes, you're absolutely
वो
Like
है
right.
ही
even
ना. That
Jerome
is
Powell was his appointed, so
Correct.
that
and he ended up.
Kevin Walsh तो Jerome Powell से भी आगे like मतलब he is sort of he's a proponent of
More
high
hawkish.
yeah more high rates and QT and stuff like that like वो पहले
Yes,
तो उसने बोला कि हम
small
शुरू ही
balance
करें
sheet.
yeah सब उसने like he's like exactly opposite of what Trump wants but अभी इतने दिन में he became close to Trump because his father-in-law is very close to Trump so तब से he's been saying the right things so
ये
yeah
क्या है
again
ये?
yeah
ससुराल का मामला है.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so his father-in-law is Estee Lauder का जो owner है, and he and
Mhm.
Trump are like golfing buddies or something. So I guess
We
Nice.
should
yeah.
golf. Okay.
Okay, Michael Saylor acquired more BTC.
Oh
The
So,
biggest
boy.
Ponzi on the planet.
More
this
preferred
guy, man.
stocks.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. I mean, ये कहाँ पैसे ला रहा है ये बहुत बड़ी बात है.
correct. I
और
think
लोग
that's
खरीद
that's some caliber, dude. In this market, he's being
yeah,
able to raise. I think that's some. I mean,
yeah.
he should be a founder, man.
He is the founder.
He is. He is a founder. He is a founder. He has an
Okay.
RWA project called MSTR.
All right.
MSTR is
Uh,
down 55%, huh? 1 year में.
हाँ तभी तो बेच बेच
Yeah,
के
but so is
BTC
BTC,
कर
right?
रहे हैं.
Yeah, so is BTC, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
ZachXBT so put out a post that his major investigation dropping on February 26 on one of crypto's most profitable businesses where multiple employees abused internal data to insider trade over a prolonged period of time.
Chalo.
Beautiful. Love this
Any
guy.
guesses? Any
Not
guesses?
gonna take
Who is it?
names.
Any guesses?
We
I
all
don't know.
know who it is. But maybe it could be surprising. But yeah, I guess like
Yeah.
if he's going after somebody, it's definitely going to be somebody big. So yeah, I think it's going to be them.
Hmm.
I don't know. I would want to say XRP
Bingo
wale.
boys. Ah, sorry.
I would say XRP वाले भी हो सकते हैं. Ripple.
Oh, very. Oh, yeah, yeah, could be. Like you once
Yeah.
discussing, market making is their only business. So yeah,
Yeah.
could be.
अरे स्पीकिंग ऑफ एक्सआरपी, मुझे टिकटॉक पे ऐसी पोस्ट आती हैं, बंदा बैठा है स्क्रीन के सामने, उसकी वाइफ चिल्ला रही कि ग्रोसरी नहीं खरीदा, ही बॉट एक्सआरपी विद दैट मनी, शी शाउटिंग एट हिम एंड ही शाउटिंग बैक एट हर, शी डजंट गेट इट.
Doesn't get it.
You know,
मेरे को क्रिप्टो
I
डैडी को
mean, so
भेजना था, गुड रिमाइंडर.
it's so moronic. Like these people put out such posts also. कि XRP $2,000. Yani आप how can that how can XRP become like more valuable than the entire sort of crypto space? You know,
क्रिप्टो इंडस्ट्री
like
को चेंज करके उसको एक्सआरपी इंडस्ट्री कर देंगे फिर.
yeah. I mean,
Correct.
it just doesn't make sense. But of course.
एनीथिंग इज पॉसिबल.
ठीक है. So global funds have resumed buying Indian equities. बीच में obviously थोड़ा slow हो गया था and
Yeah,
FIIs और ये सब जे
I
बाहर
saw
जा
that
रहे
too.
थे.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, we're at extreme fear. We're back to 5 as
फाइव
Yeah,
सिंगल डिजिट्स.
like
yeah,
now you have people saying that what if it goes below zero? Can it technically
0.
go below? What if it's negative?
मुझे तो लग रहा है
वो
कि
मीटर
already
ऐसे
below
चले
below
जाएगा, वहां
the
से सीधा
kind
ग्रीन में जाएगा.
Yeah,
like I
true.
said, the kind of doom and gloom we're seeing in the market, it already looks like below zero. जैसे वो उस पे नहीं बोलते feels like weather वाले ऐप पे कि है 24
विंड
but feels
chill,
like
yeah.
36.
Correct. It
It,
already
it
feels as
already
such.
feels
You're
like
absolutely
yeah.
right.
They need a new category because all these are showing as extreme fear. If 25 is extreme fear, then what is 5?
I, I want to shoot myself in
Huh?
the face, Pia.
Yeah.
I just bought myself 6 feet of rope, Pia.
Like,
Yeah. The God. So AI agent by OpenAI employee accidentally sends 441K in Solana. So some AI agent called Lobster Wild was created by an OpenAI employee, Nick Pash, and he said that it accidentally sent $440,000 to someone who asked for his uncle's tetanus treatment, 4 सोल. किसी ने 4 सोल मांगा था, उसने 4 लाख डॉलर भेज दिया. And the agent was actually launched to turn $50,000 into $1 million. वो पूरा liquidate हो चुका है. Yeah.
oof. और बनाओ. Give
Whale
root
has opened.
access to you.
ये देखना, ये एक और है. Whale has opened $28
Oh
million worth of
boy.
ETH long with 25x leverage. Liquidation price is 1819. So,
We are at 1863. Okay. Okay.
तुम क्यों करोगे ये सब? Like I don't get the fact that I
he
don't
has
know, man.
$28 million. Why not just
To burn, like imagine. Not bad.
On
Huh?
one
There's a lot of
trade.
money in this world.
God?
बहुत पैसा है भाई.
Wow.
It's
When
like
looking at
James Win उसका zero हो गया था ना?
James Win तो गया ना, he's out. But he said कि I'm taking a break now.
Of course.
और क्या करेगा?
और क्या करेगा?
Yeah. So Benjamin Cohen is obviously predicting like a slight bounce in early March and then continued decline in April, May. Wiz
Ooh,
is saying
interesting.
कि recovery on alts in March. Book market. Wiz जिंदा भी है,
Oh,
मुझे
of
पता नहीं
course.
था अभी तक. Like, is anyone? But yeah, he's
He
getting
was NPC, right? NPC team में
yeah,
था.
Yeah.
still an NPC
I
team.
I stopped following. I stopped following. Like नहीं भाई.
So
Because
NPC
he's
team
out
is
pushing
good.
memes.
NPC team is good if you want to like get some traction on your posts. कि अगर तुम NPC
Correct.
के
That's
बारे
so
में
true.
tweet करोगे, they'll give
That's
you
so
good
true.
traction.
That's so true.
Yeah. Crypto.com secures unconditional OCC approval as it moves towards being a federally regulated US bank. So yeah, I'm guessing कि Coinbase is also moving in this direction.
Yeah.
Uh,
True that.
yeah. All right. I guess that is it for today. If you like our
Boom.
content, please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how the Narkundi indicator is going. आज नरकुंडी ने inadvertently थोड़ा positive चीजें बोला है कि this is the time to buy.
Really?
So
Yeah.
yes, in the beginning
Beware,
he said
guys.
that.
Watch
और
out for
मैंने
the
कुछ
next 2 days.
मैंने कुछ correct भी नहीं किया, इसलिए मैंने कहा कि मैं last में ना इस बात पे बात. So he
Yeah.
said कि it's
Good
a good
stuff.
time to buy. Let's see कि क्या होता है markets का. Please let
Next
us
two
know.
days, bloodbath.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you so much for joining in. Good night. Adios,
See you
guys.
then.
Hello, bye.